Sunday Roundtable, Florida Maquis Patreon channel. If you are here, you are at the $20 a month subscription level. Here, training technically ends. It really never ends, but as far as the channel goes, this is a discussion forum where I hope we can all continue down the path of, myself included, of learning more about our targets and ourselves in psychological operations. Now, in today's video, I'm going to start somewhere that probably is going to make you scratch your head. He was close. It's not a quantitative argument here. It's we are thinking when we should be feeling and feeling when we should be thinking. It's not about too much or too little of one or the other. Now, the reason I say that is for all of the protestations of my viewers, subscribers, and students about not participating in mainstream media, my comments section completely disagrees with that. Because I can tell by a lot of the pushback that I get that they, meaning the people writing the comments, are speaking from a place where they have been emotionally manipulated by either CNN or Fox or somebody like that. And they're masters at it, Fox and CNN, the people that run these quote-unquote news/information, infotainment, whatever you want to call it, sites. And so it's a hard thing, especially after 9/11, when everybody got so ingrained into the idea of turning on Fox News every hour to see if there was another plane hitting another building. It never really went away, especially with the older folks. And they seem to drive a lot of what is done on Fox and CNN. It's just a different group of older folks. Because as we can see here, that it's basically all the White House, all the time, every single headline, nothing to do but what's going on with the minutia in the White House. And no different at CNN. Absolutely no difference whatsoever. When we dodged an enormous bullet. If this earthquake had been closer to the surface, there would be no West Coast right now of this country. Everything from Vancouver all the way south to San Diego would be toast. And this is not even spoken of on either media. But it shows the state of mind not only of those running those sites, but of those participating. Because whether anyone wants to believe it or not, the issue with Alex Jones, and we covered this in the secret video yesterday, had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with money. There was a time when he was earning money hand over fist and wasn't making a problem of himself. And I'll say it again, YouTube has 500 million channels, and the people that participate in his, at the most, you're talking, if you talk about every single Trump voter, 60 million people. Tiny, tiny, tiny slice of the world population. And when you have a giant advertiser like Coke or Nike or whatever says, hey, you know what? We're thinking about pulling out of YouTube because of this infinitesimally small speck of a channel. Yeah, you're going away. But that's just another evidence of people being emotionally manipulated when they should be thinking, and thinking about things they should be feeling. This always makes the assumption that your thought will overrule your emotion. These days, this technique almost never works because of the emotions-based attitude people have toward everything, whether it's the news or the things that they do in their life. And this is really where I wanted to get to today. Because this is what we're seeing on both sides now, left and right. it's very, very hard to run any kind of a white hat or black hat or any kind of a psychological operation on anyone who doesn't have control of their emotions. Because you can, introduce things into people's psyche, and if it's just going to set them at a rage, they're useless. Unless you're going to use that rage to manipulate someone else if it's part of a more convoluted plan. But usually it's not, especially when we see it in large groups. It doesn't work out well, as much as you might think that the dark hats want to turn everybody into a bunch of raging maniac zombies. They don't. What they want is they want to be able to predict your behavior. And the only way you stop that is by controlling what you think and what you feel. Now, this is what they call gate control theory, and this is very, very controversial. How you can literally shut off the pain gates. You can do this emotionally as well. And there's been some anecdotal evidence for it, where we've seen, I think it's those monks in China somewhere that they can literally shut off the responses to flame, to cold, to all sorts of things. And so there's something to it. And if I would encourage my audience to do anything, if they're going to continue down the road of psychological operations, conducting them and trying to identify them, is to work on this. I have to all the time. Believe me, when those cats came after my daughter back in 2016, because I didn't bow down and worship Mr. Trump, yeah, I lost control. I'll admit it. It's very, very important that what you do in psychological operations is done from an emotional state of control, where you understand your target, you understand your own susceptibility. And that's why sometimes it's actually good to do this in groups. 2, 3, 4, and vary up your groups. Have different ages, different genders, different backgrounds, and have a goal so that everybody can be bringing in input from different angles and perspectives, and this will give you a huge advantage in PsyOps. Sometimes I refer to the Florida Maquis as we. There is a we. I'm just the voice. I'm just the guy who's out front. And I've talked about this almost ad nauseum in the comment sections dealing with people, and I've never really addressed it, I suppose, in a video specifically. People always ask me, oh, so clearly since you don't like Trump, you must have been a Hillary acolyte. Literally the most insane, that clearly the programming with them is so deep that they can't even see the world in anything other than a Trump or Hillary perspective. They've been programmed so deeply by Fox that is actually, when I see that in the beginning of a comment, I know exactly I'm dealing with a Fox or a CNN watcher. Because that's just how they interpret the world. That the only choices were A or B. And to some people that gives them emotional solace and makes them feel like they're thinking when they're really feeling. But stress, and this is a great quote, what stress really does, though, is deplete willpower, which diminishes your ability to control your emotions. So, what you take from this is that remove the stressors from your life to the very best of your ability. Give yourself every chance that you can to control your emotions. And then apply thought where thought needs to be applied. And you can start to see things that you didn't see before. I know some people have come to my channel and say, how do you see all this? And how do you predict this? And are you, this, that, or the other? It's really not about predicting. It's about looking beyond and looking through. And I know all of my students have the ability to do this. I'm not special. I just have training in this. And you can do this for yourself in your own life too. and start to see things and say, wow, well, if that's happening and that's happening, then more than likely this other thing is going to happen, and then sure enough it will. And then you'll know you're on the right road. So we'll leave it there, 10 minutes. I'd like to thank everyone for participating and being here. You guys are absolutely amazing. Like, share, subscribe, of course. And if you know anyone that you think would benefit from basic psychological operations training, there is a ton of stuff here. I have the beginning 3 levels, secret, top secret, and special access need to know. All of those videos are set to go free on 90-day cycles. So probably within, I'm going to say, a month or so, the first videos are going to stop requiring the $5 at the secret level to see, because they've been out there for that long, and because I want people to understand what we're doing here is important and participate at the higher levels, because I think it's going to be incumbent upon us to lead this way and show that we're not going to be manipulated anymore. So we'll leave it there. Have a great week.